And I said, your hand's always broken. You ain't known for your punching power since you moved up from lightweight to welterweight. Why are you so sure you're going to do this?
It's wild, because, like, if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight.
Go off of that, Floyd is the best fighter, in his era. And I feel like I'm the best fighter in my era.
Here's a polished rewrite of that single paragraph. Stephen A. Smith responded to Floyd Mayweather's call out of Terence Crawford by pointing out that today's boxing world often limits certain fighters while inflating others. He argued that Crawford deserves far more recognition for his skills and accomplishments, emphasizing that Mayweather is no longer at his prime, and that age is an important factor. In Smith's view, the conversation should center on Crawford's dominance rather than on comparisons or hype that diminishes true greatness.
Think about what he had to say about you when he said you're way better than Floyd Money Mayweather. I know you heard that he said that. What thoughts came to your mind when you heard that Canelo Alvarez said that about you?
Hey, that's a big compliment. He's been in the ring with both of us, so he would know, from his own experience. A lot of people, they can say this, they can say that, but there's only, a few people that can say they've been in the ring with Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather and give their own.
Here's a refined rewrite of that paragraph. Shane Mosley compared Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather by noting that Crawford is naturally the bigger fighter, with size and strength that give him an advantage Floyd never enjoyed at welterweight. At the same time, Mosley acknowledged Mayweather's superior technical sharpness and precision, highlighting how Floyd's defensive mastery and ring IQ allowed him to consistently beat larger opponents, an obstacle Crawford doesn't face to the same extent. In Mosley's view, Crawford's physical dominance is key, but Mayweather's legacy rests on unmatched skill and adaptability.
Who do you think's better out of those two, Crawford or Mayweather?
I think Crawford is better, bigger. He's actually he moved in weight class, and I would say Crawford is a better fight all around fighter. Mayweather is really good too, though. You can knock him as well. He's very talented. It would have been a tough fight, but I think Crawford would have had the edge over Mayweather because of the long arms and because it's bigger. You know what I'm saying? And he would have kept him at bay. It would have been hard for Mayweather to counter, maybe. But Mayweather's definitely a technician. I mean, like Crawford said, Mayweather has his era, and Crawford, this is his era.
In his interview with Ariel Helwani, Terence Crawford emphasized that Canelo Alvarez's perspective holds special significance since he has faced both him and Floyd Mayweather in the ring. Crawford noted, however, that the circumstances were not the same. Mayweather fought a young and inexperienced Canelo, whereas he met Canelo at 168 pounds when the Mexican star was a fully established champion. Despite giving up size, Crawford emerged victorious, showcasing his strength and skill against a bigger man. To him, Canelo's admission that he felt more power from Crawford underscores the idea that greatness manifests differently across eras.
It was cooking right there because there was this thought, this prevailing thought that the smaller man always loses to the bigger man. This was repeated time and again throughout the fight week. And he proved that that's not the case. Again, I hope you all recognize this was a 168-pounder fighting a 147-pounder. He had one fight at 154 last August, was the undisputed king at 147, beating Errol Spence in July of 2023, came back the following year, fought Israel Madrimov at the soccer stadium in Los Angeles, and then did everything he could to get this fight, played his cards the right way, and there he was, standing face-to-face against Canelo Alvarez, who did seem for the longest time like he didn't want to take this fight, and because there was great risk involved, because not only is Terence Crawford one of the all-time best fighters in the history of the sport, he's smaller than him, so a lot of people would be like, oh, of course you're going to beat the smaller guy, right? But I think Canelo recognized, yeah, he might be smaller, but he's that damn good.
Trainer Greg Hackett offered a contrasting view, stressing that Floyd Mayweather was a fully complete fighter when he faced Canelo. In Hackett's eyes, Mayweather's style at that point was polished, disciplined, and nearly untouchable, qualities he feels Crawford's more aggressive, unpredictable approach doesn't quite replicate. He explained that Crawford thrives on explosive counters and adaptability, whereas Floyd's brilliance lay in flawless execution from the opening bell to the final round. Though he acknowledged Crawford's accomplishments, Hackett maintained that Mayweather's performance against Canelo represented a level of perfection still unmatched.
The Floyd Mayweather that Canelo Alvarez fought.
Yeah.
In the last version of Terence Crawford that we've seen in the ring.
Yeah.
Who's the better fighter, Jay?
Of course you got to give it to Floyd. Floyd at that time, Ben, what's up? Floyd at that time versus Canelo was in total confidence. His skill set, his IQ, you know what I'm saying? Everything he do, he was just a complete fighter that night. Bud, I feel like was up against a lot because he was fighting a guy that we knew something about, but we didn't know too much about. People don't understand how much a fighter could be thrown off by what he don't know. And the reason it throws you off is because you're actually learning about the fighter while you're in there. That's what Bud went up against that night. That's why he didn't look so great. To me, I could be wrong, but he didn't look so great to me because he was learning a lot about Madrimov while he was in there with Madrimov.
Max Kellerman highlighted the contrast in how Floyd Mayweather and Terence Crawford managed their careers. He noted that after moving up from lightweight, Mayweather became highly selective, carefully choosing opponents to ensure every matchup was strategic. Crawford, on the other hand, has taken on almost anyone without hesitation, giving the impression of being more daring and willing to take risks. According to Kellerman, this doesn't diminish Floyd's greatness, but instead underscores Crawford's readiness to test himself across divisions and against dangerous challengers.
It's wild because, like, if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight, then I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, yeah, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with everyone the whole time. Yes. That makes a difference to people.
Crawford expressed with confidence that if he ever faced a prime Floyd Mayweather, he believes he would win. He clarified that this view comes not from disrespect, but from faith in his own abilities. While he admires Mayweather's skill set, Crawford points to his own versatility, power, and switch-hitting ability as decisive advantages. For him, the statement isn't about diminishing Floyd's legacy, but about embracing competitive spirit that defines true boxing greatness.
Who do you think wins in a fight, you or Prime Floyd?
Me.
No questions?
Why would you think that I would say Floyd? You know, that's one of my favorite fighters. But yeah, nah.
Jeff Mayweather, Floyd's uncle, reminded fans that when Floyd faced Canelo, he was already past his prime, older, slower, and not as sharp as a version that once ruled the lighter divisions. Even so, Floyd outclassed Canelo with superior experience and timing. Jeff argued that this detail is often ignored when comparing Crawford's win over Canelo to Floyd's. In his view, context is crucial. Floyd was on a decline, while Crawford is still near his peak, making direct comparisons far more complex.
Well, also if we remember, Canelo at that time was a razor-thin decision. Floyd won, majority decision. C.J. Ross had it with what a lot of people had as a draw, and then the other two judges scored it for Floyd, of course. And that was a Floyd at the top of his game with a very green Canelo with very little experience, and he still took him, into deep waters. So
what was Canelo? What, 20-something? 20 what? 23? 25?
Yeah, he was. Very, very young in the game, obviously.
Very young. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost.
Yeah,
to a
but
man that was 30-something years old, 36.
Floyd was clearly at the top of his career, and Canelo had fought a lot of people, but
How you at the top of your career in your prime? You in your prime? You ain't in your prime when you're at 36. That's not your prime.
did he lose?
20s.
I mean,
Your prime is in your 20s.
it's different for different people.
Yeah, okay. Well, so, and that's why Canelo is saying what he's saying.
I mean, don't you? I
Want to
mean,
make himself look like he did something great.
Stephen A. Smith shared his take on Crawford's win over Canelo, describing it as one of the most thrilling performances in recent memory. He applauded Crawford for not only defying expectations as a smaller man, but also dominating a much bigger opponent with ease. To Smith, the fight was proof of Crawford's rare blend of talent and showmanship, offering fans both skill and spectacle. He stressed that boxing thrives on fighters like Crawford, who make every fight an unforgettable event.
90,482 people showed up for this fight. But the biggest props of the night goes to Terence Crawford, who did not disappoint. He was supposed to be the smaller man. He was supposed to be the weaker man. He was supposed to be the man that was going to spend the entire night on his bicycle, running for his damn life because Saul Canelo Alvarez was coming his way. That is not what happened. What happened instead, ladies and gentlemen, was a masterclass in boxing by Terence Crawford. Now, to me, the fight, some people were saying it was just severely lopsided and stuff like that. I'm not going for that. I'm not feeling that at all. It wasn't like that at all, okay? I had the fight 5-4 in favor of Terence Crawford after 9 rounds. It could have gone either way. And then he basically put on a boxing clinic over the last 3 rounds of the fight. And one rounds 10, 11, and 12. He used his jab. He kept his distance. He exchanged when necessary, which is something that I was scared to death of him doing. But he wasn't scared at all. Okay?
Another boxing analyst pointed out that Floyd Mayweather enjoys a larger global following, thanks to his undefeated record and massive pay-per-view appeal. Still, he argued that in terms of pure talent, Terence Crawford may have the edge as a natural southpaw who can switch stances effortlessly. Crawford's unpredictable style, combined with timing, precision, and composure in the ring, enables him to dictate fights in a way that strongly resonates with fans.
Terence Crawford versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. Who wins this fight? I'm going with Terence Crawford, and I don't think that's unpopular or crazy to say. I think most people will agree with me. I understand Floyd Mayweather has a lot of fans out there, but the truth is, as great as Floyd Mayweather is, Terence Crawford is one of one. And I say that because who else has knockout power in both hands, is able to switch stances between orthodox and southpaw so seamlessly while having great footwork? It's not like Terence Crawford is some stationary target or a flat-footed fighter that's going to be chasing Floyd around. Terence Crawford knows how to cut the ring off. He has tremendous ring IQ. And not only is he a great boxer, but he's a great fighter. He'll be able to make it dirty. If he is on the inside with Floyd, that power will carry him far. And I just don't see how Floyd will be able to beat a Terence Crawford. I really don't see it. I understand Floyd's defense is incredible, but he is smaller than Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford would have a significant reach advantage on Floyd Mayweather. I believe Terence Crawford would also be taller than Floyd Mayweather, as well as all the skillful and technical aspects of what I just laid out prior. So I don't understand how anybody could pick Floyd Mayweather to beat Terence Crawford. Styles make fights, and I believe Terence has the style to beat one Floyd Mayweather. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Whether you agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. Join the discussion, subscribe for more, and leave a like if you enjoyed the time spent. Thank you. You are all appreciated.